Welcome to today's edition of Mass Confusion, where we answer your questions about the Catholic liturgy.
Deacon and I will walk through some questions that you might have, burning questions you might have about the way we pray when we come to church here at St. John's.
Father, someone wrote in and said, I heard we're supposed to fast before receiving communion. Is this correct?
Yes, this is correct, Deacon, and thanks for the good question. We are to fast an hour before receiving Holy Communion. That's the discipline of the church. And really what that goes back to is just that need to prepare ourselves for receiving what's holy. It goes way back in the church and even to the example of Jesus himself, who fasted during his earthly life to prepare himself for his ministry when he fasted in the desert for 40 days. But we always want to prepare for something that's special, right? We would clean up our homes if we had guests coming over. In the same way, we sort of pause on eating normal everyday food before we receive the greatest food of all, the bread of life. And how great that over these next few weeks we'll be hearing about the bread of life in those beautiful passages in the Gospel from St. John. Now there's some exceptions to this, and there's a whole history of it. It used to be that the fast before communion was much longer. Now you could pretty much be eating something right up until the time Mass begins to keep that hour in between your last bite of normal food and then receiving the Eucharist. Some people might suggest that maybe a 3-hour fast would be a little bit better to prepare ourselves, but in any event, it's an hour before receiving communion. There's some exceptions, like if someone is old or if someone is sick in some way or has a medical need to eat food, like your pastor, who is a diabetic and sometimes needs to eat a little something to keep my blood sugar up. And then actually there's a little exception for priests. So if priests celebrate more than one Mass on a day, as I do most Sundays, after that first Mass you can eat in between, even if it breaks that hour. And that's just a recognition that a priest has to eat, and saying Mass is actually somewhat physically demanding, as you can imagine. But that practice of fasting is actually something where we really, again, prepare ourselves to receive what's holy and to make ourselves ready to receive the great gift that Jesus gives us of his body and blood.
Thank you, Father.
You're welcome, Deacon. Thank you.